At 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting of the Cedar Springs Library Board to order. First thing that we do is verify the quorum and everyone is here, so we are at full steam ahead. At this time, let's say pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would like to make a motion regarding the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda.
Okay.
At the last meeting, we talked about having the director's review after the public comment on the second one, so that because if any of the public wanted to leave, they could, and not just have to wait around for us to come back.
Oh, I see.
And there was 2 sets of minutes that were not put on there, that they were the ones for the budget hearing that we did, and board focus group.
I've got the strategic plan focus group right here.
Yeah, but they're not on the agenda.
They're in our packet.
And
Not sure what you're saying. We had the strategic plan focus group last time, so we would approve them with this board. So I'm not sure I understand.
My understanding, Tony, was that I should, and I'm not sure, but I should separate because we had a special meeting at 6 o'clock. So we did that whole, we'll call it focus group, strategic plan with Carol. So I did that on a separate sheet of paper, and then I went over, and that's item, let's call it 3A. And then I did the regular minutes of the meeting, and did that on a, we'll call it a separate set of minutes that way. And I put them together, or at least I listed them as consent agenda A and B. So I tried to keep those 2 separate.
Oh, so is that what you're suggesting? Is that under the consent agenda?
yes,
Like item B should be the strategic plan focus group? Okay.
and now we should have when we did the budget hearing. That was a separate meeting too.
Okay, so let's deal with those when we get to the consent agenda, but this is
So
whether
I
or not.
make a motion that we move the director's review down past the public comment second one. And
That would be,
now they put it right above board comment.
so it would become XI. And then the rest of the things would follow after. That's what you're saying, right?
Correct.
All right,
Then all you would have would be board comments and
gotcha. Okay. All right. There's a second for that.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion about it? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, that passes. So then we would need to vote on approving the amended agenda. Do you want to make that one?
I'll make a motion that we approve the amended agenda as discussed.
Okay,
And a second.
thank you. Any discussion on that? All right, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Okay, that passes. All right, now we're to the consent agenda, and then you want to add your items in there. They can be C and D if you'd like.
That would be fine.
Uh,
I just want to make sure that they're on the record and part of our
For sure,
approvals.
understand. So, is there any second to that motion? Everybody understand what we're talking about?
No, sorry. There is now under the consent agenda going to be an item D.
C and D. C would be for the strategic plan that we had, that meeting that we had last time,
With Carol.
before and at 6.
Which
I know it's in there, but it's just to make it an official part of the consent agenda to approve is all that we're doing.
Oh, well, I tried to list that as A,
But it's not done.
special strategic planning meeting. That's what I intended for that.
That's not what this agenda.
I guess that's not what mine says unless maybe we've changed it.
No, that's okay.
Mine says, my consent agenda says minutes of the 27th, May 25 regular meeting, and then May financial report from the city.
And I apologize. Okay, so item C is to make sure we call out the special meeting of the planning.
Yeah.
I've got it.
The
Okay.
budget meeting and
And then
he
the
would
the
be
budget.
the focus group meeting.
Yeah, either of them. That's it.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
I make that motion to amend the consent agenda.
Then, is that?
I'll second that.
Okay, thanks, John. Any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor, say aye. All in favor, or all opposed, say no. Okay, that passes. Now we'll need a motion on the amended consent agenda, please.
I make the motion, we approve the amended consent agenda.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Any discussion on that?
Just a quick question. Under the financial part of that from the city, we're getting towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
And what jumped out at me is that under the revenues, we have library penal fines.
Yeah.
And I understand that each year, they officially come from the county treasurer, our share of you speeding too much and getting a ticket. And so, but when I looked, we haven't received any in a sense for the year, and I was wondering if,
It usually comes in July.
In July?
Yeah, the state of Michigan or the Library of Michigan sends out the letters at the end of June to the counties. The counties then do their calculations and then they send us the checks mid to late July. And then that's just included in the final reconciliation of the budget.
Okay.
So it'll
money's
be
received
reflected in the
July,
final-
But it's
yeah.
for the previous.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
get all the way through.
Thank you.
All right, any other? Things or discussion with that? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, that was passed as well. Moving on to the director's report.
Does anybody have any questions about the director's report or need any clarification? The biggest one is that the state legislature just basically kept our state funding static, which means that they don't plan on supplementing the IMLS funding loss. And still, as of right now, there is no planned federal money for IMLS. So if you feel obligated, if you think these services will impact our library, I encourage you to reach out to your legislators and just ask. And then really just, I think the big focus should be our summer reading program, which has just been amazing so far this year. It started on the 10th and nope, I might have that date wrong. On the 9th, started on the 9th. And so far we've had 858 people sign up for the summer reading challenge. We've had 213,028 reading points. And so you earn a reading point for every minute that you read. So that's pretty awesome. And
How many points do we get for reading for that?
however long it took you. 15 points, I don't know. 889 missions. So on top of the points for reading, you also have side missions. One of the missions is our downtown story walk, which is live. Another one is we hidden colored paintbrushes all around town, and then you got to go find those and then mark them for extra points. We've had 889 people complete those so far. It's just been a huge success, and we're already 2 weeks into it. This week we have a story time tomorrow, a crafty Wednesday morning, and a juggler all this week. So we're having plenty of fun and awesome programs happening for summer.
Program. So fun that I immediately walked out this week. Less. Much for me.
That's a good problem to have.
I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah.
I'd also like to thank the Michigan Humanities Touring Grant for giving us the grant for the ventriloquist from last week's program, which is one of the more popular programs from last week. Unfortunately, it happened after I submitted my report, so I'll get that into next month's report. Other than that, any questions?
I just had a question, just to understand, if you need anything, help-wise or anything like that. You know, our ID tagging has gone slower than you anticipated probably, but, just wanted to check in on that, make sure you've got everything.
Actually, the staff volunteer was just working on that before she came in tonight. We're moving slowly but steadily. One of the things that we decided to do to kind of help expedite the process was tag books as they are checked in. And that I think will speed it up because once we actually because we're still finishing up nonfiction, and once we finish up nonfiction and get into the fiction section, I think we'll find a lot more books tagged than that, and that'll definitely speed up the program or project. But I think with the summer reading happening right now, it's a little bit more difficult, and we are very busy during the day. So now it's just a matter of trying to carve out some time after hours. And so I'll probably do that in the new fiscal
That's what I
year.
was thinking. It's like,
Yeah.
like if needed to talk about a day where library wasn't open or something.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably I'll carve that into next week because next week is the beginning of the fiscal year. So we'll start looking at times like that.
MLA video about book banning and how you're sorting and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. That has,
Really good idea.
yeah, there are some really good ideas there. That has, that's kind of been the practice for, well, since the book banning's picked up. So, but, so far we haven't really had very many challenges. So I think we'll cross those bridges when we come to them. We're in a good position right now.
Appreciate that. Thanks a lot. So I have a couple items under my report this time. So send a note to everybody ahead of the city council meeting to let you know that there'd be a couple items in there. One was for them to draft a amendment to the lease, which reflects the new plan of parameters of the property that we voted on last time. So I guess my question with that is, of course, they've sent the document to us at this point, signed by them. If you know, we've already voted on it, essentially. So if everybody's okay, I'll sign that document and give it back. It has been.
Pardon?
It has been.
By who?
Our attorney.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know we had.
Yeah, we've been using Foster Smith for months as well.
I'm not gonna touch that one.
Okay.
Since an amendment, a contract and all that, you're looking for a motion to do that?
I would be.
Okay, and the footprint is exactly the same as was presented at the previous meeting.
That's correct. If
Okay,
you'd like to see.
okay,
There's this
Then-
whole packet. I'll give everybody one.
then I'll make a motion to authorize the chair to sign this lease amendment, which reflects the revised footprint. I'm sorry, I can't help it. Which actually reflects what Tony has told us was the original approach
Yeah.
many years ago.
Right.
So, yeah, I'll just make that motion.
Is there a second for them? I'll second it. Okay, anybody want to talk about it?
This doesn't change anything else until he's accepted.
That is correct.
Oops, I got it. Why?
There's two documents there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're good.
All right.
Anything else to say about that? Okay. I'm gonna do that as roll call. Start with you, Michelle.
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Yes.
Heidi?
Yes.
Yes,
And I also, yes. And then the other thing that eventually we will have to go back to, the city, is what they voted on at their meeting was, they have voted to approve, from the city's perspective, the intergovernmental agreement. And that is the other thing that's in those papers that I gave you.
okay.
And so, again, there's not a lot of stuff in there that is different than how we're operating at this point. So,
Did the city, I'm sorry,
and next question.
in 2013, the city called quite a period.
Yeah.
And they approved free accounting services in April, and then they did research until December. And in December, they found that it was costing them $4,500 a year.
Correct.
For services.
Yep.
So they approved that 7-0
Mhm.
to give us DPW and accounting services. Now they want to charge us for it,
That is correct.
and they haven't rescinded those votes.
Well, they've passed those.
But it doesn't rescind those other votes.
I'm telling,
That's what I, what I was looking at.
I'm just telling you what they've done. I understand what you're saying and bring it up.
Did you want this?
I think they should have just called those motions up and rescinded them and
Yeah.
then put this one in.
Yeah.
Because now you've got a conflict.
Is this an item for the July meeting?
It potentially could be. It holds things up just a little bit for them. Which is why I sent a, heads up about it, so people could review it, and look at it. But, if people are not comfortable with it, I'm not gonna make a big deal about it either, so.
Well-
I have another question.
Yeah.
Director. Well, 2 months ago, you said that we got, our own income tax so that you could do payroll.
No, we have our own tax ID, so that way we are no longer underneath the city's umbrella. So we do have to have our own things for liability insurance. We have our own tax ID number for tax exempt status. We're no longer under the city's umbrella. We're now our own thing.
Which we've talked about it.
Right. And so,
For 90 years. Then,
right. So in the future, if we do want to explore other means for payroll services, we can, but right now the city offered us
It's probably the cheapest.
the best deal, I think, out there. And they're already familiar with our finances. They're familiar with our processes. Our fund lives in their budget, so it's not that big of a stretch to just have them include that. But it's also- the audit's coming up in August, but the only difference this year is we're gonna have our own separate audit, and that's also. So, yeah, I think that this is just it's a good move forward. It's a good step forward. If for right now. And if you as a board want to come back at this at a later date and look into different services or different providers, then by all means, let me know and we can do that research.
I guess, Tim, this is, the first in the sense that I've seen the intergovernmental agreement,
I get it.
but the two of you have been talking with the city off and on for quite a while now. So I guess if I reviewed this back and forth and everything else, I'd probably still turn to both of you and say, does this reflect our discussions and is it a good deal?
And that has also been reviewed by our lawyer.
Right, but I mean, from your.
Yeah.
Cause there was all these handshakes and yes, okay, this and that. So this addresses it and it's fair and equitable, I guess, is the phrase.
The other part of this is it does have an official renewal each year, so if there's ever a change.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That we would want to make to it, there are already set up times that it can be changed.
Okay,
And I also don't think that, like, if there was something that was really not working, I don't think that they would be adverse to hearing from us.
Yeah.
And
Has every
Working.
board member read this?
um,
If you haven't, I would suggest we just table it for next month, so that read it.
okay.
and,
I don't-
Yeah.
and I just don't want to, because like I said, I'm still gonna look those two in the eye and ask them anyways.
Yeah.
But there's no issues with the city for us to just do this in July.
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you.
Going to table, make a motion to table this. They're not the agenda, it's not on.
There's no item in the agenda, it's just part of my report, so you don't even have to do that.
Yes, I think it's a good
It's
idea,
just
just
fine.
shows you're given the chance.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
So you got to get my motion.
Yeah, I have no problem. I'm just filling you in on what it is. Yep,
Thank you very much
of course,
for all the work that went into it.
of course, happy to go. So that's what I had.
That's quite significant, Mr. Chair.
Well, we're making steps forward that we've been talking about for quite some time.
Absolutely.
We're now making it official.
We're
It's
checking,
good to be careful.
we're checking boxes here. I love it. So, okay.
Okay. And I don't know of any committees that met since we were last together, so I don't think there are any committee reports. The only thing I would ask about is, James, do you know, if Carol has made any notes on the strategic plan?
We are going to take what you guys discussed, take what the staff discussed, come up with the survey questions and then bring it to the board, hopefully at the next July meeting, and we can approve the survey to go out into the public, and then we'll start going to our community partners. And
I know that AJ is expecting.
yeah, I plan on going to what I did for the report. I'm
Yeah.
going to do the same thing. Just once we have the strategic questions and survey ready to go, then we can go to the municipalities and say, hey,
Yeah.
we'd like to hear from everybody as much as possible. Can you help us get the word out? So
Yeah, he's seen that from our previous meetings and is ready to, when we're ready.
yeah, we just have to finalize we just have to present to you guys the survey, and then you have to say, yep, that's good. Let's send it out.
Sounds good. Okay. We are now at our first opportunity for public comment. Any citizen that wishes to address the library board on any topic, you're recognized for 2 minutes, or sorry, 2 minutes. And at this time, we will not respond to or discuss public comments. Any comments?
I'd like to thank the CBDT for doing a big cleanup around town, around the library. It's badly needed every year. And, wasn't able to make it because garden club, we were planting our annual, so. That tied me up for the day, otherwise it's a good time and I always enjoy it, working with folks down here. I have been for a long time. Every year it's just astonishing how much better this whole area is as compared to what it was 10 years ago. It's like a landfill dump. And then we got the new library. So anyway, I really appreciate that. And Sue Wolf apparently wrote a beautiful article. She must have put it in the Squire. And that was, I was very happy to see that. I'd like to see more, see news in there. They just love to see our news. And we just need somebody to do that on a regular basis. I've been begging around for people to do that. I'm not qualified for that sort of thing. But anyway, thank you. We're finally got this footprint issue resolved, I guess. I don't know if Solon Board has to vote on it yet or how that's gonna go. But I remember talking about that when we had that first built that new contract, and I thought, holy cow, the library cannot be responsible for all this property. So I'm glad that's done at the speed of government. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate this.
I was just curious that the summer reading program, are we kind of on pace what we're usually at, or are we ahead behind? We're a statistic person, so just curious. For the numbers.
We could get back to you later.
Okay.
All right, that takes us to, our ongoing business, which the item there now would be, the final budget amendments, which was in the packet.
So yeah, this final budget amendment, and I forgot to mention this in my report. Sorry. So the final budget amendment for 24-25 is listed right here, and that is just to cover some expenses for office supplies, and then the electric expense that also jumped up. The proposed budget amendment will have us covered and then some. And then there's also, this was included in my report, and we forgot to discuss this. I apologize, about the Michigan Municipal League insurance.
I was just.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with our new tax ID, we do need to have our own liability insurance. This company came highly recommended, mostly because this is who the city uses, and they already have all of our stuff on file. They already have what our building is worth. They already have what the content is worth. They have all that stuff. And so it was just a matter of us getting our own account with them. They are, yeah.
According to our lease, we're responsible for the contents.
Yes,
The city's responsible for the grounds and building.
yes. And that's that.
And then you were saying something about, they would be covering the building. And maybe I misheard that.
No, they're covering, you're right. They're covering the building. We're just covering the contents. We're just, because again, we were under their umbrella with the tax ID, but because now we have our own tax ID, we kind of have to take over the contents ourselves. So yeah. The best way to describe it is if you take the library and flip it upside down, whatever hits the ground is we're in charge of. That's the best way to describe it. But this is a very well-renowned company that works with strictly government entities. Their prices are again comparable. We're buying into a membership, and like I said, the report was included in my report, and then I did send a copy of the full proposals to the board for review. But the summary is right here. So
Is something that we would both know?
yes, we would need to start this in July.
That was gonna be my question, Tony, is that he's got a budget amendment, I believe, to cover that expenditure.
Yes.
But I think we need to officially approve, going with this insurance company. And because there's dollars involved, two parts, not only the fee itself or the charge, but also there's this membership that they require to be an associate member of the Michigan Municipal League. So I think we should do
We're
that
not part of
first.
that.
No, with our own tax ID, we'd have to become a member of it.
Now, the budget amendments that you put in. Are you saying that the fee for this to start now is in that budget amendment for 24-25.
These budget amendments are, that he's proposing are for this year's budget, not next year's budget.
Well, one is for the insurance and bond expense. We do need to up that one to cover this cost.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
yes, yes.
So my understanding, Tony, is that his, what is it, 1,700? Like that. Anyways, that amount pays for the insurance, gets us started in the program now. And then he's got his next amendment, which I appreciate, he's on the ball. So starting July 1st, we move into another budget year, and he's got his first amendment, going for that.
That's
So
correct.
thank you.
And I know at the July meeting, we close out this year's budget.
That's correct.
I guess I've always looked at it as June 30th. So, and I think the auditors look at it because our fiscal year ends June 30th, and then we start our quote July 1st. New budget year. But I can understand how he wants
So
this.
we're paying ahead.
I'm sorry,
We're paying ahead is what you're saying?
I think you're both saying exactly the same.
I think we're saying the same thing, it's just that he has a new insurance, liability insurance policy with this,
Yeah.
with this organization. And I understand he wants that approved, and here's a budget amendment to pay for it.
Covers.
Yeah.
This
So
month.
they're
It
correct.
starts.
July 1, June 30th. If we don't approve it tonight, then we're gonna have the month of July uninsured. Yeah.
That's not.
that would not be
Should that be on the 24-25 budget then?
No, because what I'll do is I'll pay for it July 1, so that way it's the beginning of the fiscal year and it's already taken care of at the beginning of the fiscal year. And then we don't have to worry about it again until 2025, 2026.
At the end of each budget year.
Yeah.
We take care of the next.
Yeah.
But I do believe properly, we should approve, going with the MML, the property and liability pool first, and approving those expenditures.
Yes.
Or excuse me, the budget amendment.
Yes, that's what that.
And if,
If we approve going with MML first, and then we approve the budget amendments would have that payment for that minute.
Yes,
But we have to approve going with them first.
yes.
that's,
Yeah.
I guess if you're comfortable, then I want to get back to the proposal. The proposal is to officially go with, what's our name, what's your? official
Michigan
name?
Municipal League.
Michigan Municipal.
Property and liability pool, I
Mhm.
think is right.
Yep.
Liability and property pool.
Yep, to go with them, with the, price of, somebody help me with the number.
$4,770.
And a $200 membership fee to be an associate member of the Michigan Municipal League,
Yes,
correct?
That
is-
is. I think we would put those dollar figures underneath the budget amendments, rather than approving just MML at the end.
But that's up to you, Tony. I guess when I do a motion like that, I like to put them in. So that's just me. This is what we're talking about signing a contract with, and there's the amount, and there's the amount. And I guess,
But you're putting the money in a motion for this year.
correct.
That's where.
Oh,
If you do the budget amendments after we approve MML. The budget amendments have that cost in them. And he's already said he'll be paying it on July 1st, which puts it in the next year.
we're kind of saying the same thing, but what I like is that he has proposed and said, we're approving this, here's the contract, you pay it, and by the way, here's the official budget amendment, here's the account numbers. I want to move this from here to here, and that's what's gonna pay for it. Oh, okay, so I can see two motions here, one to approve going to them, and one to approve the budget amendment.
I would say. Additionally supportive of what you're suggesting. Is the one also addresses what the whole year cost is gonna be, as opposed to just the budget amendment for
Yeah,
first part of it.
a budget amendment is moving monies around within the budget, and that's fine. In this case, it actually pays for what we're talking about, but I like to identify the costs and all that with a contract when it's, shall we say, approved.
And I don't think there's any harm in being over there.
So I guess I'll go back and make the motion. I do make the motion that we approve signing our insurance with the MML Property and Liability Pool for the dollar amount and the membership fee of $200 for the MML.
Doesn't become effective July 1st.
Would it be effective immediately?
It's already affected retroactively in May, starting in May.
Oh,
So we are covered, but if we don't pay them on the first, then we're not covered.
then I'm comfortable with the motion as it is, because as approved, we're gonna have coverage just for July 1st. So,
I will second that motion. Any further discussion about this?
Real quick, I would also like to point out that if, much like the IGA, if in 1 year's time, the board wants to seek out
Oh.
other options, we do have that available. So this is
It's a year later.
this is just to get us through the new transition with our new tax ID.
I guess just as a note, Tony, in my 38 years as a city manager, I've never had liability insurance with anyone else but these people.
Sure.
I know what you mean.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, this is the amount of money that requires a roll call vote. Check.
Yeah.
Mark?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
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 Mark?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now we have insurance. Now how are you gonna pay for it? Where's the budget? Oh, well then, I'll just do the next. Then the directors requested a budget amendment. That takes, monies from the, fund balance of 1,700. And increases, where am I at now?
Supplies, by 700.
Office supplies and
Electric.
electric. So by moving that around, that frees up the money to pay for the. I want to make sure I understand that.
No, so this budget amendment just basically will cover the office supplies and the electric expense. And then what we're amending is the 2025-2026 budget to go up from 30, I
I
want to say,
apologize. I reversed.
I want to say
gears.
$3,100 up to
Right,
the $4,700
okay.
or more than that.
Sorry about that. I'm in the wrong year. So then I would make a motion to approve a budget amendment for fiscal year 25-26, which takes $1,800 from the fund balance and puts it into insurance and bonds to pay for this policy.
And also, does your motion include the
The
items for
200.
this year?
Oh,
That the $1,700, it's a separate piece in there. There's two things here.
I
Yes.
guess I'm used to doing one at a time.
Okay, so do you want to do the 1,800 first?
Yeah, if that's okay.
That's totally fine.
And I guess I'll just stop right there.
Yeah, okay, I'll second. There's a second. Any discussion on that?
Yes, just to make sure the $200 membership
Yeah.
fee, you're gonna be able to cover somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question on making amendments to the 25-26 budget.
I reached out to the finance director at the city, and she said we could do it either time. We could do it at this meeting or we could do it at our first July meeting. I decided to bring it forward to this meeting just because we know it's gonna happen. We know we need it. And we're not starting off 2025, 2026 in the red in one line item.
Yeah.
So that's the whole reason I brought it up now. We could have done it at the July meeting for sure. Either one would have worked, but I just wanted to go into the fiscal year ready.
With the budget, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's looking ahead. I like that.
Will the city be notified of the changes in their budget?
Yes,
Of course.
yes.
There's motion in second, and that's first discussion.
And roll call?
I'm just making sure you're done with your
Yes, I am.
discussion.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Okay. Again, this is gonna be roll call, so we'll do the same thing, so Michelle?
Yes.
Mark? Yes. Yes. Tony?
Yes.
Heidi?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you.
Okay. Then, can I go back to this year? And the directors requested a budget amendment to take $1,700 from fund balance and put it into office supplies and into electric expense.
I will second that. Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Anyone have any discussion?
Keep the lights on.
And the AC running.
Another roll call, so Michelle?
Yeah.
Mark?
Yes.
John? Yes. Tony?
Yes.
Heidi?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you. Okay. Right, so that then takes us to any agenda items for next month.
I guess at this point, I'm noting that the intergovernmental agreement. And then if I heard the director correctly, we might have the strategic plan survey.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then we'll of course have the standard items next month, officer elections
Oh,
happen then, and committee appointments
And closing the
and
budget.
closing the budget,
Schedule of fees.
schedule fees.
Schedule of meeting dates.
And the dates of the meeting, yeah. So. Some of those will go quickly, but we'll have a lot to do, that's for sure. Any other items that anyone is thinking of right now?
We can a full vote there.
You will probably earn 30 points for reading next month's packet.
Yeah. Informational items, I just, the only thing that I would say is, James and I were here for the dedication of the fountain, which happened last week. That was a really cool ceremony. It was good to hear about what everybody did to make that happen, and many of the other things that have happened to make, there was a lot of reminiscing, similar to what Rose said earlier, about what this area particularly used to look like, and what it looks like now, and how this town has changed a lot, and that everyone is grateful for that, and lots of recognition of hard work and lots of financial support that made all of those things happen. It was cool. I got to bring my son with me, and he was pretty impressed.
Community event.
It was really great.
Kind of wish we could have actually done it outside by the fountain, but that was the night of the thunderstorm.
So it was in here, but it was wonderful. Okay, any other informational things that anyone wants to bring up? Okay. At this time, we'll do the final public comment before we make our motion to move into the director review.
I was just wondering if our library is part of a cooling station or a warming station, have you ever thought about that, or,
City has not approved.
well,
Well-
I didn't know if there was any special. That's all.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. All right. So that takes us to, the director's review. And if the public would like to stay, you're welcome to, but if you would like to not hang out while we do this part, that's also fine. However you would like to do it, it will be no problem. I'm assuming, you know, I'll just ask you, for clarification's sake, you wish to have it in closed session, correct?
I do.
Okay. So at this time, to do that, we would need a motion, and the motion is listed here, so you don't have to come up with it all on your own.
I'll make that.
Has to be said in a certain. So just to say out loud, you know, the motion is to go into closed session to consider a periodic personnel evaluation of a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent of the named individual requests a closed hearing. This is part of MCL 15.268A, where the director requests a closed session for its presentation. Is there a second for that motion? Thank you, Michelle. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, we are in a closed session.
And the time is 7:46.
Closed session.
Well, let's go another room.
I have to take it too.
Oh.
Oh, it's cold in here, I love it.
You cleaned up the room while we were.
It'd be something.
It's so cold in here, like my phone feels cold picking it up. Alright, tell me about this coffee shop.
All the air is
The one in St. Lance, it was, I've been there twice.
All the air is on time.
Yeah, like, can I get a book?
Oh.
That's why it's getting stuck
Oh,
in
that's
there.
okay.
That's the hard part. Normally just stop, I want to talk, there's something like, oh, if they're open, I'll get a coffee.
Library?
I was the coffee shop.
It's all about the coffee for me tonight, guys.
I do like your coffee.
I do like your coffee, yeah.
You see it?
Sorry, I
Oh,
totally
no,
forgot.
thank you.
Would someone be willing to make a motion to bring us back in the open session?
Make the motion to bring us back in the open session.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. So we're back into open session. Is there any subsequent motions to make?
I will make a motion that the director and the chair discuss and come back to the next meeting with a letter of understanding concerning issues that we talked about.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, that passes. Thank you so much. That brings us to board comments, if anybody has any, and we'll do our normal pattern around if you wanna, if you have any, Michelle, and then we'll start working our way around.
I don't think so, other than I was here, I forgot what day I was here. Oh, to pick up my packet, and the place was crazy.
Oh.
That's why I thank the director for doing awesome job. I know you can get a lot of things that we put in place and there's been ups and downs. Thanks for staying.
No.
Thanks for putting up with me.
I think I say this all the time, but I really appreciate the staff for empowering my big kid to lead and my little kid to read, so. Appreciate you guys.
No comment.
And I just wanna thank everybody, for all the work that goes into these meetings ahead of time and unseen. It's super appreciated and it's part of what makes this work, so well. And, James and the A+ crew that are here, they're up to so many great things and it's fun to watch. And to be able to be alongside them is a true honor. All right,
Make a motion to adjourn.
okay. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Could be.